So today I have a question for you. Are you an accidental project manager? So when you decided to start your design business, were you surprised to learn that you were also taking on the role of project manager in your business? Or maybe you got a job and you were employed as a designer where you were expected to manage your own projects, and that may have been a surprise to you or something you had to learn. So does that sound like you? Are you an accidental project manager? So I stumbled across that term and I just thought, no, that really resonates with a lot of my audience. Decided to start our businesses because we love design and we want to serve clients and make the world a more beautiful place with our work. But then there's all this other stuff that comes along with it, right? All the admin, all the paperwork, all the client communications, making sure things are on track and on budget and on schedule. And it can feel a little bit overwhelming. So I'm glad you're here today because we're going to talk about this. So in case we haven't met yet, I'm Amy Farrell. I'm a longtime graphic designer and design studio co-owner. And after 20 plus years gathering experience in design and running my own business, I get to pass these lessons on to other graphic designers, creatives, and freelancers like you. So I want to help you enjoy the design process more, get your valuable time back so you can have a life, and most importantly, create lasting, profitable client relationships that keep your cog of projects turning forever. And we want to do all of this without you losing your mind in the process, right? So when I started my second design job out of design school, I think I was like 22 or something at the time, I was working for an exhibit design company, and I learned pretty quickly after coming on board that there was this full-time job there called project manager. And I'd never heard this term before. It wasn't something we talked about in design school. I had no idea at the time what that role actually meant, other than I kind of figured it's, someone who manages projects. So after a few weeks in my role, I was observing what was going on around me, and I realized, okay, so the project manager is in charge of managing the project, right? In practical terms, that means they are making sure that the project gets done on time and correctly. They're keeping track of the steps and milestones along the way. They're working with a team to make sure the team has everything they need to do their part of the job. They're monitoring the budget to make sure the project is on track and without taking up too much time or resources. They're helping the team members on the project get the information they need in order to move forward. And in many cases, they're also communicating with the client throughout the project. They might be sharing layouts with them. They might be passing on revisions or feedback to the designer. They're often the liaison between members of the team and the client. So I think it's important to recognize this PM, I'll just shorten it to PM from now on. This PM role is often overlooked and underappreciated, right? Because PM isn't actually doing the work of designing or producing the project or whatever it is. They are managing it to ensure that it's getting done well and on time and on budget. But there's no denying that project managers are extremely important to the success of a project, and it's no small task. There can be a lot to this. So if you're running your own design business, you're going to be doing projects, and someone has to manage them, right? So you have two choices. You either have to manage the projects yourself, and you have to do a really good job of this, by the way, be your own project manager, or you need to hire someone to do it for you, right? So why is it important to fill the role of this project manager? Well, we talked a little bit already about keeping everything on track. But really what it boils down to is you want to see your clients be happy, okay? And when they are happy, you're going to get more referrals and more repeat business. And there's no way around this. Like it just has to be done. Someone has to manage the project. And like I said, it either has to be done by you or someone that you hire to help you. So if you've ever thought, man, all this, I'm working in my own design business. I'm taking on projects. I'm, designing them, delivering things to the clients. All this administrative stuff and communication sure does take a lot of time. And you're absolutely right. It does. It takes time and energy, and you might feel like at times it's taking you away from your design projects and that it feels meaningless, but it's not, okay? It's an incredibly important role. It's very it's essential to the success of your projects and your business. So we can't dismiss this, okay? So just realizing that this is an actual full-time job in many companies really justified it in my mind, that this is a necessary element. Like, all these successful companies do this. I should probably be doing it too, at least at my own level, right? I'm not going to go hire 4 full-time project managers or anything. So I'm not saying you need even a full-time person to fill this role at all. But what I am saying is that you need to have a working knowledge of how to manage a project effectively if you want to have successful project outcomes, right? If you want to get repeat business and referrals, this is how you do it. So much of what a PM does can be wrapped up into good customer service as well. So if you're serving your client well through your effective project management, you'll be well on your way to having a successful business. So like I said, I think as designers, we get started, we think design is our only job, right? This is where we can tend to go wrong. We're not properly thinking through all the steps that are going to happen. All of this is wrapped up in the project management process, okay? When you go out on your own and start working on projects, don't assume that a client is going to know how to manage a project or that they even know the proper steps in the design process, okay? So many times you're going to be paired with a client who's never worked with a designer before, that isn't familiar with your process. Maybe they're a new business owner or a person who's never had the opportunity of managing a project themselves, and they're not used to working in that type of environment. So this is where you can show your true professionalism and add value to your relationship with the client. So I believe the best approach always is to assume that you are the project manager of this project. You're the one setting the schedule, the deadlines around your client's needs. You're ensuring that your team has the information if you're working with a team, or maybe you have a subcontractor. You're ensuring that everyone has everything they need in order to move forward and do a great job. So don't ever assume the client's going to take on that role for you. Now, this does 3 things to benefit you and make you look amazing. So here we go. This paints you as an absolute professional at what you do, okay? Not only are you an awesome designer, but you're an impeccable business owner that takes the time to manage the projects well and offer the best service possible. This allows you to take your client through your process that you know works because you've done it a bunch of times, gets the best design results. So you have a process for how, for example, you're going to collect feedback and you're going to have dates in place for when revisions are due, because you know it needs to be completed by X date in order to maybe get the printing done, because maybe you need to deliver this brochure or whatever it is for a trade show, right? And trade shows are a set date. It has to be done by a certain date. So if you're driving all of that from the beginning, you're going to be in a much better place because you can stay ahead of those deadlines and ahead of those milestones that are coming up, and make sure that your client's on board and aware of all those steps that need to happen. They will see right off the bat, if you approach this from a management standpoint, a project management standpoint, and you are on top of your details, they're going to see right away this extra value that you bring. You're not just taking their stuff and designing something and throwing it back. Okay, there's a whole lot more that you are doing behind the scenes. So they'll see right off the bat, like, hey, John is super creative. He's come up with amazing visuals for us. But also look how organized he is. Look how smoothly this project has really gone. And that's always a good thing for a client because it's less that they have to worry about, right? So John's thought through every step of this project. He's always ahead of things before they become problems. And he involves the client when he needs to. And it's like they don't even have to worry about the project because they know it's going to be done right because John is managing it, okay? So this added value is wrapped up in your price. It allows you to charge more, okay? That's really the cool thing about all this too. Final advice, if you feel like you could use some more help in this area, there are tons of resources you can find out there. And I did actually pick up a book that I'll tell you the title of that in just a second. But basically, it's about learning the foundation of good project management, okay? And it's not hard. It just takes a little time and a little practice. So I don't want you to feel overwhelmed, but I do want you to know the importance of it, right? And just the benefits that can come from knowing how to manage a project successfully. And the book that I mentioned, it's called Project Management for the Unofficial Project Manager. I don't know if you can see this. And I have not read the whole thing yet. I'm partway through it, and I've been kind of skimming some areas, and there's really good information in here. So if that sounds like your jam, go pick that one up. And you can learn more about managing design projects through the free tools and trainings that I have in my free Facebook group called Designing Success. I'll drop a link so you can join if you'd like. All right, I hope that helps you today. Have a wonderful day and go crush some design projects.